Well, today is Sunday, the 17th of August, and I've been meaning to do this or trying to get this done for about 2 months, but I am completely useless with computers, so this is a real big deal for me. And by the way, this is my fourth attempt. I keep on getting signs coming up, running out of memory, and all the rest of it, so I'm going to have to reduce what I'm saying just to make sure I get the gist of it over. Basically, we've got a doctor down here in Glenhammon who's a danger to his patients. And we've got a police and crimes commissioner who's overseeing probably one of the most corrupt forces in the country called Christopher Salmon, and he's about as much use as a chocolate teapot. Now, I've been trying to expose this for a long, long time. I've got evidence that's irrefutable. You can't dispute the evidence I've got, which shows that this doctor has deleted thousands and thousands of items of medication from my prescription. I took this evidence to Peter Hain MP, who was the Minister of Wales up in the Houses of Parliament, and he looked at it and he said to me, this cannot have been done by accident. Someone has had to sit there and delete each item one at a time. Now, I've also got the printout from the chemist, and the chemist printout and the prescription printout from the GP don't match up. Now, that's impossible. I even said to the chemist, can you just give me medication that isn't prescribed? He said, no, no. He said, I can only dispense what's prescribed. Yet there's thousands of items missing. And there's also all the dates of hospital visits and all kinds of stuff has been falsified. This just doesn't involve one or two doctors. This involves, got to be at least six. Now, the thing is, it's obvious what's happened. I mean, there's no disputing the evidence. Why aren't the police investigating? The police are not there to investigate crimes against professionals. If you're a doctor, you're an MP, you're a barrister, you're a lawyer, whatever you are, you can do whatever you want, and they'll cover you up the same way as they covered up Savile and Cyril Smith and all the rest of them. And I'll just reflect on that a little bit. There's a security analyst called Andrea Davison. She was a security analyst for the government, by the way. And in 1988, she was reporting to the government British arms dealers selling weaponry to terrorists, that there was a plot to kill Princess Diana, and that there was a paedophile ring in operation in Westminster. What did she get for her efforts? She was threatened and bullied and is now living in South America in fear of her life. What I suggest you do is go online, click a name in, and have a look at the statement that she's put out about all this. Because what you've got to think of, your sons and daughters or members of your family that have been sent to Iraq don't deserve to be killed with bullets supplied to the opposition by British arms dealers for pure profit. And that's what's happening. And the government and all the rest of the powers that be know it's happening, but it's too much money involved to be worried about your relations or your fucking children. You're dispensable. We're all dispensable, especially when you reach my age. I'm 67 next birthday. When you reach my age, or you're drawing benefits or pensions or whatever you're doing, you're a burden on the state and you're expendable. And believe you me, they're murdering you. There's 170,000 cases of deaths, needless deaths, was on the Liverpool care system. Now that was a professor that gave that information out. He went on holiday, or he went away for his weekend's leave, and when he come back, one of his patients was missing off his ward. When he inquired, he got told that he'd been sent down to the Liverpool care pathway. Well, he took off, he went down there and got him out, argued with everyone and got him out. The fella lived for another 2 years after. Now, if he'd have left him on that ward, he had 30 hours left to live. They've got no... You see, everyone that's drawing benefits or drawing pension is a target for these people. And they don't just come along and put a gun to your head and bump you off. They make money while they're doing it, you see. The prescriptions, The drugs companies pay backhanders, as we're all finding out with what's happening with GLK in GSK in China and now in Syria. They're all paying doctors to prescribe whatever medication they want them to prescribe. And of course, the doctors are getting all these hospitalities and flights on Concorde and big cash backhanders and bonuses. You're the ones that are suffering, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. What I'm saying is, if I'm not telling the truth, then this is slander. I've also, if you can see it there, written a book called Simply the Truth. Now, if this isn't what it says on the cover, Simply the Truth, then I'm liable. Why hasn't anyone knocked on my door and said, you can't do that, you can't do this, we're taking you to court? No, because the evidence shown in a courtroom to members of the public and everyone else substantiates everything I'm saying as the truth, and they can't afford to let that out. Why I'm worried is the food companies are murdering your fucking children. I don't give a monkey's. If you don't believe that, you're walking around with your head up your backside. And I'm using the word murder. If I said kill, if they're killing your children, well, you know, that could be by accident. You can accidentally kill someone. But if you're giving someone substances, just like drug dealers, like heroin, if you're giving children substances you know are going to eventually kill them, then that's murder. And this isn't by accident, this is all for profit. They are feeding you shite, and you're forcing it down the kids. Well, the kids are demanding it, you know, because they're addicted to it. They're addicted to the fast foods and all the rest of it. And these food companies know they're doing it, but they can't. They've got to give all the profits, they've got to pay themselves the bonuses, they've got to think of the shareholders, and the governments have got to think of the taxes. What a load of bloody bullshit. Which is more important? The money for the government or your children's lives? You've got hundreds of thousands of children with type 2 diabetes. That leads to pancreatic cancers, liver cancers, cancer of the kidneys, heart failures, heart disease, and all the bloody rest of it. That's what they're doing to the kids, and you're all just, oh, maybe they shouldn't put so much salt and sugar in. If salt and sugar was the only problem with the food companies, then you can live with that. They're putting all kinds into the food. You don't know what you're eating, and it's killing you. There's no two ways about that. It's killing you. It's all right saying, well, go on a diet, or don't buy it, and don't do this, and don't do that. That's just like saying to an heroin addict, oh, well, you know, if you want to live, just don't take heroin. It's not that easy. Once you've been forced into this way of life, the only people that are profiting besides the food companies and the government by way of taxes are the fucking drug companies, and they're patting the food company on the back as they're all running to the bank to see how much money they've made. Wake up and smell the coffee. I think a lot of you people realise what's going on, but are too scared to really believe it. So I'm looking for an audience of 10-year-olds, you know, kids that are the same age as I was on this photograph, because that's me when I was 10 or 11 there. And that's me on the back when I was 7. I'm the one in the middle. So, looking at the photographs, you can see where I'm from, and by the accent you can tell where I'm from. I'm from Liverpool, and I'm from the biggest slum clearance area that Liverpool has ever seen. So I'm nothing special about me. And I was a criminal, and I've been to prison for my crimes. But that's an advantage, because when you're dealing with shite, you've got to know what to look for. A lot of people just don't believe that people can be so bad. Well, maybe your eyes are getting opened with this Savile. I mean, that geezer, besides screwing stiffs in the mortuary, which, you know, I mean, bloody hell, that's a bit heavy. He had the rings made out of the glass eyes of dead patients. He loves inflicting pain. The police had him on a few occasions, let him go. There was multiple complaints about him. They let it go, they whitewashed it, and that's exactly what they do every time. You try reporting a doctor, an MP, or anyone else who's a professional or in power to the authorities, and he just blank you. Why did he blank you? Like Cyril Smith, there was a guy on the telly not so long. Well, he wasn't on the telly. He done an article. He was an ex-Met child protection officer who was doing investigations into that Elm House where that fat bastard Cyril Smith used to go and abuse the kids. MI5 sent a heavy round and grabbed him by the throat. Who grabbed him by the throat, slammed him against the wall, and warned him to stay away from it. On another occasion, he had a gun put to his head, threatened that if he didn't back off, he was going to suffer the consequences. That's exactly what happened to Andrea Davison. And as I said, that woman's living in South America in fear of her life. That's what they do to whistleblowers. I was a whistleblower in the financial services. Besides all the arms deals and the death of Princess Diana and all the rest of it, I mean, it's all contained in the book. It's too much for me to tell you on video. As I say, this is the fourth attempt today, and I keep on getting things coming up. The memory's running out. You can view this. I've done two sites. One is called Sed Libra Nos Malo, which means deliver us from evil. And the other one is on WordPress. Just go onto WordPress and you can punch in Simply the Truth and you can read this for free. Sed Libra Nos Malo. You want to read this, it's going to cost you £2.50. The reason for that is this has cost me thousands. I've had hundreds of these books printed, right? And I'm giving them away around Carmarthenshire and around Ammanford and Garland. I'm giving them away because I can't put a price on this. This is too important for me to be worried about trying to get my money back. I'm up to my eyeballs in debt, but I'm still trying to do my best for you. So I would like you to go on to Sed Libra Nos Malo. On there's two books. There's this one, Simply the Truth. There's The Message, which is the way I think that you stand a chance of tackling it. There's a journal which gives you all the lowdown on the financial services. And well, there's all kinds of stuff on there. You'd have to go on there to see it. But let me tell you, I'll read the address out because it's www.sed-libra-nos-a-malo.co.uk. Go on there and have a read. I mean, it's worth £2.50 of anyone's money. If you don't believe what I say, it's up to you. I don't give a shite anymore. I mean, I can only do what I can do, and I'm doing my best. The murdering your children, as I've told you with these fucking food companies, the murdering your children, the government's doing nothing about it. The government is standing back, and well, you've seen what they're doing, what the doctors and these so-called health workers are doing to your old people in the nursing homes. I mean, that's, what can you say about it? I've been watching these Channel 4 documentaries. The way they were literally just slapping these old people around and abusing them in terrible ways, and I've never heard of one bleeding doctor going to jail for it. I've heard of a few cases where they're disciplining the staff, but I've never seen any of the doctors going to jail or getting dragged before the courts. I mean, they're a protected species. They're bumping you off hundreds of thousands at a time, and they're getting away with it. Now, there's got to be a reason, because you're not dealing with normal people. You're dealing with people that are evil. They don't give a shite. They're completely and utterly evil. And unless you get that into your thick heads, you ain't going to go anywhere. This message, or this video what I'm doing now, is directed at 10-year-olds, because people of my age, we owe them the biggest apology. We've left them in such a bloody mess to clean up. We've got to give them some sort of indication of how they can do it, because these are the ones that are going to be running the country soon, and if they don't get to grips with what they're going to come across, We don't stand a chance. Well, they don't stand a chance. I mean, as I said, I'm 67. I'm not in the best of health. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be around to be worrying about it. But I do think about the kids and the ones that need to start making the changes are the 10-year-olds, from 10-year-olds upwards. A lot of people, they've never been involved in crime. They don't see any bad in anyone. Me, I have been involved in crime, and I do know what's good and what's bad. And I was on the dark side for a lot of years, well, for half my life. But the other half of my life, I've been trying to make amends and do the right thing. And I feel by doing this, I'm doing the right thing. The doctor in particular, I'm going to name names now, right? The doctor in particular is a fella called Duncan Williams. He's a GP in garment surgery, and he's falsified all my documents. He's falsified paperwork. He's lost appointment dates. He's changed this. He's done everything to cover up what he's been doing. The ones in the hospital have done exactly the same. They've even got me down, and this was such a good one. They've even got me down for an appointment where I've met a doctor I've never met in my life. Supposed to have seen a doctor I've never met in my life on the 21st of December 1988. That's good, isn't it? I wasn't even in Wales, and I've got a signed statement that was done in front of a commissioner for oaths, telling people exactly where I was on that day and why I know I was there on that day. Because only a few weeks before that, the police had searched my house looking for drugs. Load of crap. I haven't been involved in drugs for 25, 30 years. Yet they sprung up. They weren't after anything to do with drugs. They were after me paperwork. They were after all the paperwork from the financial services. I was warned in the financial services that if I didn't back off, my life would be ruined. You can't beat these people. Your life will be ruined. And that was by the union as well. The fucking union knew what was going on, but they're all pissing in the same pot. That fella, what's his name now? Roger Lyons. Roger the Dodger, I called him. He got done for misappropriation of funds and paid one of his secretaries who was going to take him to court or something £100,000 as a bit of a shut up. I was offered the same deal myself. When I was meeting with the investigators for London and Manchester Assurance Company, who merged with Friends Providence and is now called London and Manchester and Friends Providence Assurance Company, he said to me, "What do you want out of this?" I said, "What do you mean, what do I want out of this? I want my clients to know, like, that I haven't come into their house and sold them a load of shite knowingly." He said, "Do you want a brokerage?" Well, let me tell you what a brokerage means. That would have meant they'd give me anything in the bank from 50 to 150,000 pounds, and a banker called and set me up in business to carry on selling their products. I told him to stick it up his arse, and I carried on the fight. I really didn't believe, even at that stage, that everything was so corrupt. These governing bodies, as you call them, the FSA and the PIA and the Ombudsman and all, they're not there to help you. They're there to cover it up and to stall you and to deter you and to put you off complaining. That's what they're there for. Because you know about the mortgage scandal, right? Well, how would you like to know? Some of my clients got the mortgages, the policies, um, guaranteed the way I'd sold it to them, because I'd said to one of them, and I've got the offer letters. The offer letters are in line. The offer letters are in this book, and they're also online. They got offer letters. I wrote a letter for one of the clients saying exactly what I'd told him. I wrote it as though I was in. He signed it and sent it off. 10 days later, he received 2 offer letters guaranteeing that he would receive the amount that I guaranteed to pay his mortgage off, and that there wouldn't be any losses. You see, an endowment policy, the clue's in the name. Endowment means, and this is, by the way, I've got the paperwork off the company, and this is what it says. Our understanding of the endowment is a policy where a fixed sum is selected by the client to guarantee a payment at a specific date in the future. Now that's what an endowment is. So when you took your endowments out, that is exactly what you should have been given. You can't you can't say it's an endowment if you're going to say, oh look, you're going to have to pay more money into this, otherwise you're not going to achieve what you're expecting. Because if you're doing that, that's not an endowment, so that's false advertising. And when I pointed this out to the companies and the authorities and all the rest of it, I just got issued more threats, and my life was made more miserable. And they've done what they've done. They've ruined my life, that's for sure. But the way I look at this is, you've ruined 18, 20 years in my life. Do you think I'm going to be fucking bothered about the next few? I'm not here forever. So what do you want me to do? Do you just want me to say, oh well, just leave me alone. Forget about the 18 years in my life that you've ruined and the financial fucking hardships you've caused to me. Is that what you expect? Sorry, Florrie, you're on the wrong lorry. I'm not cut out that way. You lot have not only done it to me, you're doing it to thousands of other people. So what I'm doing is I'm just telling people, beware of everything that's going on. Now, if you're an old age pensioner or you're drawing benefits, you want to sit up and take notice, because you are the prime target. You're a burden on society. Never mind what you paid in and what you were promised you were going to get out. You're out of, you're just out of fashion, buddy. I'm telling you, once you're drawing any sort of state benefits or your pension, you're a prime target to be bumped off. And the NHS and these bloody doctors that are swanning around in the big yachts and all the rest of it, and throwing the little parties over weekends. And I mean, I can tell you stories about that, but I can't prove it. It's all hearsay. I mean, the fella down here, Drunken Duncan is his name. That's what he's known by, Drunken Duncan. He's covered up. I mean, the stories I'm told about, and they're unbelievable. Well, they're not unbelievable because I do believe them, but I haven't got any proof of it, so I can't go into detail over that. But what I can say is, he's altered all my documents. He's fiddled all the appointment dates to cover up what he done purposely to me. This wasn't by accident. Accidents. And besides that, why should all these doctors jump on the bandwagon and all go to such extremes to cover up what he's done? They're all in it together, mate. They know. I'm not saying, look, don't get it wrong what I'm saying. I'm about the police for a start. I'm not saying every copper in the country is bent or is bad. But what I'm saying is, the majority of them know what's going on. They're just too scared to do anything about it because they know what happened to them. They will become whistleblowers, and they will suffer in the same way as they know others are suffering. So they're too fucking scared. But the thing is, that makes them as bad as the people that are doing these things. Do you understand what I'm saying? You mightn't be taking part in all these activities, but if you know they're going on and you don't do anything about it, you're as bad as them. It's like Jimmy Savile. All these people that knew what was going on and did nothing about it and didn't blow the whistle on him, they're as bad as him because they were letting it happen. So, as I say, I've had a few notices up on this already where I'm running out of memory and I don't really understand what it's all about. So all I can basically say is, you can read it for free, but I hope you pay £2.50 on said Libre and Osamalo. You've got the address, but if you haven't got £2.50, go on to wordpress.co.uk or whatever it is, and just punch in Simply the Truth, and you can read this for free. If you don't believe it, that's up to you. I don't really, well, I'm not saying I don't give a shite, but I can't be bothered about people that aren't going to take any notice of the warnings. I've done what I know I should do. As trying to be a decent person, I'm trying to give you information that you should have. If you believe it, do something about it. There's another book on Sed Liber and Osamalo called The Message, and it's my way of trying to educate people in what I think the only way you can sort this problem out. Because if you take to the streets doing protests, you're playing right into the hands These lot would love nothing better than to cause a riot and to beat you all into submission and to show you and to have you cowering. Listen, I'm listening to this David Cameron now. He's standing up and he's saying about all these Islamic fucking terrorists and these Muslims and all the rest of it. And if we don't keep it over in Syria, he's got people thinking they're going to be fucking climbing up the white cliffs of Dover with machetes in the teeth and machine guns over the shoulder, coming here to murder us all. Look, I've been around the world. I don't know how many times. I know thousands and I've met thousands of Muslims. I've never, to my knowledge, met anyone that's Muslim that wants to kill me because I'm a Christian. Why don't they blame the Muslims for the financial chaos? Why don't they blame the Muslims for what Jimmy Savile done? They may as well, because they blame the fucking Muslims for every other thing. So why not blame them for that? Anyway, I don't want to use all this memory up. I don't even know if I've done this right. I hope I have, and if I have, it's going to get launched on the YouTube. I hope plenty of people see it. I mean, because it's a waste of time going to the authoritative bodies like the FSA, and it's a waste of time going to the media. As a matter of fact, I went to see a journalist, 1989, a fella called Norman Luck. He was an investigative journalist for the Express. Don't know whether it was the Sunday, I think it was just the Express. And I told him all about, he was jumping over the information and the evidence. No, never mind just information I was giving him. The evidence that I produced in front of him, he thought he'd had the scoop of the year. After the police had given this briefcase of documents back to the arms dealers, by the way, and when I asked why they'd done that, he just said, orders from above. I got a phone call off Norman, and he said, Peter, I don't know what you've got your hands on here, lad, he said, but I've been an investigative journalist for 30 years and I've never had so many doors slammed in my face. I don't know what you've got hold of, but I'd advise you to back away, otherwise these Arabs will put a bullet in the back of your head. Now, when my mate heard this, him and his girlfriend, who were living with me at the time, went to Ireland. I've never seen or heard of them since. He was terrified. Me, I phoned the fat bastard up, this John Waite fella, and said to him, hey, you think you got away with it? I've given all the documentation to the taxman and I've told him all about you. And you know what he done? He burst out laughing. He said, he's one of our scouts, he's one of ours, he's not going to take any notice about you. Right, so I give him a few expletives and I hung up. By one of ours, what he meant was, and here we go, oh, you're going to be a Freemason basher, are you? That's what he meant. He's one of ours. He meant he's a Freemason. And I'm not going to get anywhere with him, right? Well, his name was, I've got it written down here, his name was Michael Alcock, right? I give him all this information, photocopied all the documents that were in the briefcase, Swiss bank accounts, company names like Pearl Shipping Company in Indonesia, and all the names and all these letters and everything else. And he done nothing with it, right? So about 5 years after I'd done that, he's in the paper, isn't he? Michael Alcock, senior investigator for the taxman, sentenced to 5 years in prison for taking trips on Concorde with call girls, holidays, cash incentives, bonuses and all kinds of other hospitality treatment for favours, for covering up. And these were favours from the rich and powerful. So there's what your taxmen do. And that was Mike Alcock. You can read all this up. It's all online. If I'm telling lies, just punch it in onto the computer. You know how to use them, I don't. I'm just struggling finding, I found all this stuff out. But I've got a different way of looking at things than most, I hope. Anyway, I'm saying most because I've always been a villain. I made an effort to change in 1983. And since then I've been trying to do the right thing, and that's why I'm doing this now. I think it's the right thing to do. There's thousands of people getting treated by these doctors. As a matter of fact, they've given him a temporary contract with all these changes. There's 3 doctors 15,000 patients. That's 5,000 patients each. So I don't know about the other doctors. All I'm saying is Dr. Duncan Williams has tried to do me in. He's tried to cover it up. He's altered all my prescriptions. He's altered paperwork, and he's just told a load of lies. One good thing I can tell you. When I went to a meeting in the Prince Philip Hospital in Llanelli, and had a meeting with this Philip Avery, the consultant, and all these other doctors and all the rest of it, I said to them, I want to tape this meeting. And they said, oh, don't worry, we take minutes. And I said, look, I worked in the financial fucking services. I know exactly what happens to the meetings, to the minutes of meetings. They get altered. I said, so for my own peace of mind, I'd like to tape it. Oh, well, I said, are you worried? No, you can tape it. So they let me tape it. So then when I went on another meeting with this GP, Duncan Williams, I said to them, I want to tape this meeting. I said, well, they let me do it in the hospital. Why won't you? Oh, well, okay, you can tape it. So I taped that meeting. As a matter of fact, in one stage, he jumped up, and I've got it all on tape, and he said, this isn't a meeting, this isn't an interview, it's more like an interrogation. I want the time noting on the tape, in case I altered the tape, that is. So I said, fair enough. What I've done is I've put these 2 tape recordings online. So if you want a little bit of an insight into what happens when you go on these meetings with these doctors, go and have a listen to it. Because on there, you can hear them, they're telling a load of lies. I was rushed into hospital. The second occasion I was rushed into hospital. I'd blacked out. I'd fainted giving blood. I'd passed out in a hospital in Glenannan. This was me annual blood tests to see what's happening like. And I remember the nurse couldn't get any blood out of my left arm, so she said she was going to try my right arm, which was unusual because usually they stick a needle in me and the blood comes up. So she stuck the needle in my right arm, and I thought I was going to faint, and I was saying, oh, hang on, I think I'm a bit woozy here. And she said, it's okay, you're just coming around, there's an ambulance on the way. What the fucking hell's going on here? I'm in hospital, what are they talking about? Apparently, as she was trying to draw blood, I'd passed out. Now, I don't know how long I was unconscious. All I know is, as she was telling me this, 2 ambulance men were coming in the door, so it's got to be longer than a couple of minutes. They took me to Prince Philip Hospital. I went in, was checked up, and I was sent home. They haven't got any paperwork about that one. So when I said to them, I said, oh, you haven't got the paperwork, so you've lost the paperwork. Philip Avery was saying, oh, no, we haven't lost the paperwork, we haven't got it, I'm not saying that we've lost it. I said, so, am I lying? Is this a figment of my imagination? Didn't this happen? Oh, I'm not saying no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we haven't got the paperwork. I said, right, so if I'm not lying, and you haven't got it, you've lost it. No, we haven't got it. So you've lost it. No, we haven't got it. Oh, okay. Finish the conversation because I'm not getting anywhere. They looked to me as though they'd been primed before the meeting by a barrister, to be honest with you. And when I was on the meeting with the doctor, the cheeky so-and-so turned around to me and said, well, the best that we can do here is you get in touch with your legal team and I'll get in touch with our insurers. And I thought, you smug-faced get. Do I look as though I can afford a legal team? I can't afford a legal team. And if I could afford a legal team, I don't know whether I'd have the confidence to bloody trust them neither. I've been to that many courts, these secret family courts, and I've never in all my life seen a carrying on like it. No wonder the fucking secret, because they don't want the general public to see what's going on. I've watched barristers, judges, I've watched them all just completely and utterly lie. I'd like to give you some examples of that, but I'm worried about the memory usage. So I'm going to do more of these. Once I've got the hang of it now, I'm going to put some more up. But the whole idea of this one is, if I'm not telling the truth, this is slander. So if anyone who says I'm lying wants to take me to court, please, 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 let's get into a courtroom and let's fucking have a look at the evidence. And if I'm lying, send me to fucking jail. The truth is, I'm not lying. I'm telling you exactly the truth. And these bastards should be locked up. They're a danger to the patients. And if they can do it to me, they can do it to you. Don't be worried about blowing the whistle. And this is the other thing. If you're working in a job and you see things are going on, examine your conscience and remember, if people don't speak up, these evil gets become more powerful. Now, anyone that's listening to the news, seeing the reports about Savile and about Smith and all these other bloody people, Stuart Hall and all the rest of them, realise, will you, take your head out your arse and realise what's going on. And this is what you're leaving for your kids to deal with. So if you don't get it right now, you'll suffer the consequences. And I can hold my head up now and say, I've tried. Whether you take any notice or not my problem. That's your problem. All I'm saying is, if you don't take any notice, you'll suffer the consequences. And that's for fucking sure. That's all I've got to say. But you'll be hearing from me again. Visit Said Libero Nosso Malo if you've got £2.50 to spend. If you haven't, get onto wordpress.co.uk. Punch in Simply the Truth and you can read it for free. Once you've done that, if you don't believe any of it, so what? Not my problem. It's your problem. Bye for now.